legend of Voltron, Defender of the Universe.
Remember when Voltron had 15 vehicles instead of 5 lions? Lost after one season, and childhood debates over the real Voltron, it hid twists. Today, you're getting 10 shocking facts about the forgotten Voltron, from solar power to real estate battles.
The planet is rich in gold and other treasures. I want it.
Number 10. The mission was basically space gentrification. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody talked about in 1984. While Lion Voltron defended Princess Allure's castle, the vehicle force had a completely different job. They were armed surveyors hunting for empty planets because Earth was too crowded. The entire Galaxy Alliance was dealing with an overpopulation crisis and needed new worlds to colonize, which meant our heroes were essentially cosmic real estate agents with lasers. The twist? The Drule Empire was doing the exact same thing. Both sides were scrambling for habitable planets, turning every battle into a territorial dispute over who gets to claim the galaxy's last good neighborhoods. It added layers to the conflict that most Saturday morning cartoons wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Suddenly, those epic space battles had a bureaucratic motivation that made you wonder who the real bad guys were. Remember when cartoons were just good versus evil? Vehicle Voltron said, "Not today."
Hold everything, Skipper.
What?
That's not a magnetic belt.
Number 9. Voltron had a 5-minute battery life. Picture this. You've just combined 15 separate vehicles into a towering robot. Your theme music is blasting, and you're ready to save the galaxy. Then someone checks the power gauge and yells that you've got exactly 5 minutes before everything shuts down. That was the vehicle force's brutal design flaw. It ran entirely on stored solar energy, and the battery drained fast. Unlike the mystical Lion Voltron that seemed to run on pure awesome, the vehicle team had a literal countdown clock ticking during every fight. This wasn't just a throwaway detail either. The 5-minute limit created genuine tension in battles because the team had to strategize quickly or risk decombining mid-punch with an angry Drule battleship still firing at them. It was like watching someone play a video game with the worst power-up timer imaginable. Nothing says advanced alien technology quite like needing to recharge after the length of a commercial break.
Attention all Voltron Force units. When you reach your space cruisers, be sure to check your weapons system.
Number 8. The Great Voltron 1 Playground Confusion. Every kid who owned these toys had the same argument. Wait, if this is Voltron 1, why did it come out after the Lion show? Here's the answer that frustrated a generation. The vehicle force was marketed as Voltron 1 and Lion Force as Voltron 3, but this had nothing to do with release order or prequels. It was pure marketing nonsense based on which robot was set closer to Earth in the fictional universe. Vehicle Voltron defended the near universe, Lion Voltron protected the far universe, and somewhere in between was the mythical Voltron 2 that we'll get to later. This naming scheme made absolutely zero sense to anyone watching TV, where Lion Force aired first and became the cultural phenomenon. But toy company's gonna toy company, and they stuck with the confusing numbering that sparked decades of playground debates. If you ever lost a which Voltron is better argument because you couldn't explain the numbering system, you can finally blame corporate marketing instead of your 8-year-old logic.
There goes another Obies.
No need to worry, Supro.
Number 7. Chip was Pidge's twin brother. Wait, what? The writers knew they had a problem. 2 completely unrelated anime shows were being sold as one Voltron universe, and eventually someone would notice. Their solution? One brilliant line of dialogue that retroactively connected everything.
For a while, it seemed like Pidge was really here. Well, maybe at next mail call, I'll get a letter from him anyway.
In a single Vehicle Force episode, Chip, pilot of the Advanced Recon helicopter, mentions being homesick and references his twin brother Pidge from the Lion Force. Boom, instant continuity. This wasn't in the original Japanese versions, obviously, since those were separate shows that never knew the other existed. But for American kids watching both series, this tiny detail was mind-blowing. Suddenly, the 2 Voltrons shared actual DNA, making the crossover special feel earned instead of just a ratings grab. The writers basically used the twin brother card like it was a get out of plot holes free card. And honestly, it worked.
Jeff, let's get out of here while we still have time.
No, not yet. We gotta give the Drool Empire a chance to show up.
Number 6. Commander Hazar actually tried to stop the war. In an era when most cartoon villains wanted to conquer the universe for the sake of conquering the universe, Commander Hazar stood out by doing something radical halfway through the series. He tried to make peace. The primary Drule antagonist realized the war was pointless and actively worked to broker a ceasefire with the Galaxy Alliance, constantly battling his own treacherous superiors who wanted to keep fighting. This was shockingly complex for Saturday morning television. Hazar wasn't redeemed through defeat or some magical friendship speech. He chose to do the right thing while still commanding enemy forces, creating a moral gray area that most shows avoided. His arc involved actual character growth, political maneuvering, and the uncomfortable reality that good people sometimes serve bad empires. Compare that to King Zarkon, who just cackled evilly for 124 episodes straight, and you'll see why Vehicle Voltron fans remember Hazar as the villain who actually had a conscience.
Only bad news could bring him out here.
Number 5. The Phantom Voltron 2 that never aired. Remember that confusing numbering system? Vehicle Force was Voltron 1, Lion Force was Voltron 3, so naturally everyone asked, where's Voltron 2? The answer gets weird. Matchbox actually produced and marketed toys for Voltron 2, 3 humanoid robots that combined, based on a Japanese anime called Albegus. The toys hit stores, kids bought them, and then nothing. Because Vehicle Force bombed in the ratings, the TV executives decided adapting another Voltron series was too risky. The Albegus cartoon was never translated or aired in America, leaving those Voltron 2 toys as bizarre artifacts from a timeline that never happened. Imagine owning action figures from a show you could literally never watch. For decades, these toys confused collectors who couldn't figure out if they'd imagined an entire series or if Voltron 2 existed in some parallel dimension. Turns out it existed only in marketing meetings and clearance bin.
That doesn't surprise me. Attack, fight, destroy, never wait and see.
Number 4. Officers kept disappearing to mysterious hospitals. Here's where American censorship standards collided with Japanese war drama. The original Die Rugger 15 was brutal. Officers died in battle regularly, making each episode feel like an actual military conflict with real stakes. But US broadcast rules in 1984 wouldn't allow characters to die on Saturday morning TV, so the Voltron writers got creative with their edits. Characters who clearly got eliminated in the Japanese footage were suddenly transferred to a medical facility or sent to another assignment, with new dialogue dubbed over explosion scenes. The Galaxy Alliance had a suspiciously high turnover rate, with crew members vanishing every few episodes with vague explanations that fooled exactly 0 observant kids. It resulted in a show where half the background characters seemed to be constantly leaving on mysterious business trips. Looking back, those hospital transfers during space battles were about as subtle as saying your goldfish went to live on a farm.
There is. Voltron will follow him into the asteroid belt, and the fleets will follow Voltron.
Number 3. Jeff's secret weakness: hot chocolate and dogs. Most action heroes in the 80s were defined by muscles, laser guns, and growling one-liners about justice. Jeff, the hot-headed leader of the Vehicle Force Air Team, broke the mold with some surprisingly wholesome character details hidden in his official bio. His favorite beverage wasn't whiskey or black coffee, it was hot chocolate. And his primary motivation for fighting? The memory of his childhood pet dog named Rover. These weren't throwaway jokes either. Someone at the animation studio decided their military commander needed to be humanized with the most aggressively wholesome traits imaginable, like he was secretly a character from a completely different genre. While other cartoon heroes were brooding about vengeance, Jeff was out there powered by Coco and Golden Retriever memories. Nothing says hardened space warrior quite like being motivated by the thought of a good boy named Rover waiting back home.
All units retreat.
Commander, I don't believe you said that. We've never run from the droids.
Number 2. Lisa's romance got downgraded for America. Lisa, pilot of the C-Team's space prober, was a fan favorite for her compassion and expertise in ancient cultures. A weird specialization for someone fighting space wars, but it made her stand out. However, her relationship with team leader Jeff suffered a significant downgrade when the show crossed the Pacific. In the original Japanese Die Rugger 15, she and the commander were in a serious, committed relationship with real depth and consequences. American writers decided that was too mature for the target audience and dialed everything back to vague dating status or a friendly crush that never went anywhere meaningful. It was the classic 80s move of sanitizing relationships until they became so subtle you couldn't tell if characters even liked each other or were just really good at teamwork. Fans who remembered Lisa as a strong character often forget she also got stuck in the will they won't they zone that US adaptations loved inflicting on female leads.
Now that is good news.
Now we may finally have a chance to stop them.
Number 1. The Vehicle Force and Lion Force never met, except once. Here's the fact that breaks everyone's childhood memory. The two Voltron teams never appeared together in the actual TV series. Not once. If you remember them fighting side by side or teaming up against a massive threat, you're thinking of exactly one piece of media: the 1986 TV movie Voltron, Fleet of Doom. That hastily produced special was the only time both robots shared the screen, commissioned specifically to boost Vehicle Force's failing ratings by letting them ride Lion Force's popularity. The special tried to unite both fan bases, but by then it was too late. Vehicle Voltron was already fading from Saturday morning lineups, while Lion Voltron continued for years. For most kids, Fleet of Doom was either a fever dream they half remembered, or the only proof that their playground arguments about which team would win had an official answer. That one movie did more heavy lifting for Voltron continuity than any amount of retconning could ever accomplish.
Let's get to the escape ships before we explode!
Bonus fact: Hazar got the happy ending America needed. The Japanese source material didn't pull punches with its ending. Commander Hazar, the conflicted villain who spent half the series trying to make peace, died a martyr's death when his home planet exploded, a devastating conclusion that matched the show's darker war drama tone. But American kids in 1985 didn't need that kind of emotional trauma on Saturday morning. The Voltron writers completely rewrote the finale, editing footage and adding new dialogue to imply Hazar survived the destruction and successfully led his people toward a peaceful future. It was a deliberate choice to spare the audience from watching the show's most complex character die for his principles. Some might call it sanitization, but for a generation of kids who genuinely cared about Hazar's redemption arc, it felt earned. Sometimes the hero's ending belongs to the villain who tried to stop being one. From 5-minute battery limits to space real estate wars, Vehicle Voltron was weirder and deeper than anyone remembers. This wasn't just the other Voltron. It was a show about overpopulation, moral compromises, and villains with actual character development, wrapped in a robot made of 15 vehicles that probably shouldn't have fit together, but absolutely did. So which fact shocked you the most? Did you own those Phantom Voltron 2 toys? Did you catch that chip-pidge connection when you were 10? Until next time, and remember, always check your solar battery before combining.